Hey, this is Robert Browning,
And I'm Sheva Carr.
and you're about to watch an episode that we had recorded with dear friends of ours and who happen to be leaders in healthcare at this time during COVID-19. And as we all know, the landscape of how this particular virus is affecting the world and our lives and each other has these cascading effects, and it's constantly changing. And we've become very aware of some recent developments that Sheva shared with me recently that prompted us to want to create this video before watching the movie, the actual larger episode.
So, as we're going to air with this episode of Navigating with Heart Conversations for These Trying Times, two frontline healthcare responders in New York and the East Coast area have committed suicide due to the stressors they were dealing with, both with acquiring COVID-19 from their patients as well as the horrific trauma they experienced treating their patients and dealing with the pandemic. And so we wanted to acknowledge them at the outset of this episode, as well as all healthcare workers and frontline responders who have lost their life through viral transmission or the stress of what they're facing, and to just pause together in the heart to honor their lives, their service, their heroic care for their fellow humanity, and the pain of their loved ones who are suffering their loss. And also to offer, for those watching this episode, resources to help. I myself lived in a war zone as a young medical student, and I understand from the inside out, as healthcare workers, we're trained to help. And when we feel handcuffed to be able to help, that helplessness and powerlessness led me personally to suicidal ideation when I was in my 20s. I can say that HeartMath tools and the interventions you're about to learn about in this episode saved my life. And I feel so grateful they did, because the children I was forced to leave behind in that war zone came to find me 12 years later and let me know how their lives turned out. So I would have missed that epilogue if I hadn't been able to access the power of my heart and its resilience in the face of that stress.
And so many of us process these life events in varying ways. Some of us are still not necessarily in touch with the level of pain and trauma that is occurring and does occur daily, every minute. And so part of this is also an enrollment conversation. For those of you who are watching this, who may not be on the front lines or may not be viscerally in touch with that level of pain, to open your hearts to a level of compassion and the kind of empathy that moves in towards a deep unconditional love and support for what people are going through on the planet.
That's so beautiful. Thank you, Robert. And if you are a healthcare worker or not, but you're just a person who's experiencing the profound stressors of COVID-19 in a way that's leading you to contemplate self-harm, we have below this video multiple resources for you, including 24-hour hotlines for suicide prevention with trained people standing by to help, someone you can talk to who knows there's another side to this. We want you to get to see the epilogue that I would have missed if I had chosen to check out 30 years ago. And it's our hope that this episode will give all of you hope, whatever your profession and background, to see the positive possibilities that can emerge even in the most difficult of times, when we are trained to add the power and intelligence and love of the heart. So welcome, and please feel free to contact us if you have questions or need more help at destress, DESTRESS, at heartmath.com.